Vamos! Because if you miss this, it's going to smack you in the head. You being in awe of everything that Rachel Yankee did. She was like, that's you now, that's you. And I was like, because the one I think of first is that my dog gets recognised. There's no such thing as beans on toast in Barcelona.
Barca don't have beans?
No. We're like, oh, she's having a stinker. And they're like, what's a stinker?
The fact that that might still be the case and you wanted to retire out here, that we won't see you in the WSL again. As you can tell by the weather, I'm obviously not in England, but when one of the world's greatest footballers invites you to Barcelona, you're booking the next flight out. So let's not keep her waiting. Hello, how are you? Give me a hug even though you're on the bike.
Not bad, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. So I've just introed it saying that you invited me out here, but I'm fully aware I've invited myself.
You invited yourself.
You're not meant to agree.
Thanks for having me. It's a nice place to come though, right?
Yeah, it is, the weather is unbelievable. It's stunning.
Sunshine, everyone says, wow, are you going to come back to England sometime soon? And I'm like,
why would I? Well, this is the first stop on a couple of stops we've got today. Little gym. Round the corner from yours. So what's on the agenda today?
Have a little warm up here first, but we'll get into some boxing.
Well, I'm not going to join you on the full session, but just on the warm up for now and watch me be more out of breath than you are. So obviously you've come from training earlier today as well, so this is like extra training. Yeah. Is that expected of players, or are you just always going that extra
No, I mean, it's something I enjoy doing, and I think because I've had obviously so many knee injuries. The boxing something I did when I was injured, and then when I came to Barca, I started to actually like learn it a little bit. Something different.
You've experienced like firsthand how far the women's game's come in the last 5-10 years, even since the Euros final. But how would you say a training week compares now to when you first started out?
Completely different. I mean, I'm getting up every morning, have my breakfast, I go to the physio, go in the gym, then I'm training on the pitch. Gym after, physio after, lunch, and then I come home middle of the afternoon, which sounds really nice.
Ready for a siesta.
Yeah, ready for a siesta. And the same again, every day is pretty much identical. Yeah. Whereas in the beginning, like when I first started, I was training once or twice a week at 7 o'clock at night on a AstroTurf away from everything. I used to just turn up to training in any sort of kit. Now it's obviously laid out every morning and stuff. Little things like that I probably take for granted now, to be fair.
We met in Istanbul and so much food available when we were there. So I know that you eat just as much, if not more than me. But obviously you're in the shape that you're in. What would you say is like a typical pre-match meal for you?
In England it tends to be, like toast and porridge and things. In Spain, they like having ham and cheese. Yeah. So
it's based on like the country and rather than like
what's available, yeah. I mean, what the nutritionist says as well, but I think I've been so many places and you can't always predict what you're going to get, so I tend to just, whatever's put in front of me, I'm happy to try new things.
I mean, I'm someone that every morning has the exact same breakfast.
Oh really?
Yeah, no. And I'm like, I know this is going to set my day for how I'm going to feel.
Well, there's like girls who eat, say, like beans on toast every day. There's no such thing as beans on toast in Barcelona.
Barca don't have beans?
No.
Oh my God, they don't know what they're missing.
They're like, absolutely not. Why would you eat beans in the morning? And I'm like, you could eat them for breakfast, for lunch, or for dinner. And they're like, what the hell? What kind of meal is this?
Versatile.
Yeah.
You have no idea.
So versatile.
Okay, so the meal's not something that you have like a typical routine with.
No.
Do you have any other things that you always do before a game, or any sort of superstitions that we might not know about?
Oh, again, I'm pretty chill. I think.
Dead right now, by the way. I think my setting must be harder than yours, isn't it? It was harder than yours, surely.
Bit, yeah. Again, I've seen so many people do so many rituals over the years, and I've watched them. The one time they've not been able to do it, be so stressed.
Really?
So
what would other people have?
Say like there's a time frame for us to get ready. Sometimes the bus is late. And then they're like, I haven't got time to do like all the tape that I need to do properly for each thing, or my socks aren't in the right place, I forgot my socks. And then they're all thinking about this, and I'm just like, you should be thinking about the game. So I'm like, give me any socks, give me any tape, give me anything. Like, I try not to think too much about that and just think about how hard I train.
Fair enough, it's the right thing to say. One thing that people do think that you're superstitious about is coming out the tunnel last.
You've
heard that, haven't you, before? But it's not a superstition.
No.
What is it?
Well, I have always kind of been the last or at the end. And I remember there was a time, I think it was around 2019, so yeah, 4 or 5 years ago, maybe more. And that sounded really bad math, but it was, I think it might have been before 2019. And a player on the England team, I remember said to me like, "Oh, you're at the end, so it doesn't matter if I'm last." And I was like, "What do you mean?" They were like, "Well, they're not going to tell you off," because at the time I was playing really well. So then I kind of just kept going with it, and I kept going last because I thought if someone else is last, like I said, they're going to be stressed if they've not done the right things. So I just always go at the end thinking, well, at least I'm last. I'm not stressed.
And you weren't bothered if like you were the one that got in trouble?
No, nor that, because I'd be like, well, if I'm being last and it's a problem, what's the problem? Like,
Point to me where the problem is.
Yeah, like I'm still at the game, I'm still going to work hard, I'm still going to play just as hard as everybody else, and I'm making sure the rest of my teammates aren't as stressed. If they're last, I'm like, it's okay, we'll last together. So they kind of just evolved from that. I do it at Barcelona, I do it at England. England's quite funny because I think the only person who gets stressed about it is Serena.
Oh, what about you being at the back?
Yeah, because Katie Zellam's the same. We're both just quite like chill and come out last, and she's like, "Come on, girl, come on." Like behind the scenes, she's a bit like, but she doesn't want to say anything because I'm like, it's not going to hurt anyone if I'm last. Yeah.
Something else you do when you're coming out of the tunnel.
Okay.
Everyone else is like head focused, like forwards, just thinking about the game. Like they've got their little mascot next to them, but like probably not getting a look in. Whereas you are always like sort of level with the mascot, having a conversation with them.
Yeah, I think again, there's been a few times I've had mascots and they're like, some of them are like shaking. Or like they don't know what they're doing or anything like that. So when we're in the tunnel, everyone's really serious, no one's really talking. And this little kid's like living their dream, holding someone's hand. So I think you try and speak to them. And especially now, I can get by in a few different languages. So no matter what.
So modest, get by.
No, but even if
you like spout Spanish like off the tongue.
I don't speak German, but even if they're German, I could say hello, how are you? You know, and I always say like, where are your parents? Because I think they'd like probably get on the pitch and they're a little bit. It's overwhelming for players sometimes, let alone like an 8-year-old.
Yeah.
So yeah, I always think if I was 8, wow, I'd be petrified. So it'd be nice if someone was chatting to me.
So not only just young girls, but young boys as well, saying that they're looking up to you, that you're their role model, that they want to be Lucy Bronze, must never get old. Do you remember a time where you were like, oh my gosh, like, you realised that you were people's idol?
I think it was my mum that pointed it out to me. And I can remember her saying something like a while back. I can't remember, I was talking about something and she was like, oh, you should say something. And I was like, why? And she was like, because people listen to you, like kids look up to you. She was like, I can remember when you were a young child and I went to watch Arsenal play and I went to watch Rachel Yankee and me, Lucy Staniforth and Demi Stokes went together and she was like, I still remember how much you looked up to her and now like it's like the shoes on the other foot, like you're the person the kids looking up to. And she was like, I remember like you being in awe of everything that Rachel Yankee did, you wanted to copy. And now that she's like, that's you now, that's you. And I was like, it doesn't feel like it's me.
Does it ever, like, has it ever felt like that?
My mum says that every time we spend time together, she comes to Barcelona and she's like, I still don't think I'm used to you being like Lucy Bronze. Yeah. She was like, does it ever get old? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, again, I'm very lucky. The growth of women's football's kind of went in the same trajectory as my career. Yeah. So I've learned as it's grown, like I've grown in my career as well.
Not just like chucked straight into the deep end. Yeah. What would you say if you had to choose like one fan interaction? What was the most memorable moment for you?
The only thing I'm laughing is because the one I think of first is that my dog gets recognised. My mum and my sister took my dog out once in Barcelona and fans were asking, we're like, oh my god, is this Nala? Is this Lucy's dog? And mum was like, what? And they wanted pictures of the dog.
So you weren't even there?
I wasn't even there.
No.
But they just recognised, I don't know, she must have a nice haircut or something. I don't know.
Shout out to the hairdresser.
That's just comes to my head when I think memorable things is people recognising my dog.
Yeah. Being famous and being recognised does actually come with the job. And I think you don't think of that as a young girl growing up that's just doing something that you love. You don't think about the fame. But do you like that part of it?
when I was growing up, you would see the David Beckhams, Thierry Henry, like those players, and they would be famous and footballers.
Yeah.
Whereas for me, the women that I was watching playing football, they weren't celebrities or they weren't famous.
No.
They were just footballers. So I was just like, oh, I just want to play football.
Yeah.
And it would never have crossed my mind that it was like ever going to be anything else. So I don't think I ever was prepared the fact that it was going to change.
Would you say that side of it is at least something now that you do enjoy as well?
I think I enjoy it now, like I said, when little kids who it's made their day or maybe get tagged in a video. That's one I remember. I was in Newcastle with Alex Greenwood. We went for a walk and there was a little girl who waited outside the hotel. So I said, oh, like, come and walk with us. So she's like pretending that she was a lioness because she was walking with me and Alex. I think that was really sweet. I ended up seeing the video a week later of it. And her mum was like, oh, you made her day. She had the best, only that 5 minutes. And it was like, something that this little girl's been telling everyone, all her friends and family.
Yeah, it was 5 minutes.
That was really cute.
Well, someone that has spotted you is your trainer. So I think let's stop warming up because also I'm sweating so much and get you to your boxing session.
Let's go. Vamos. It is harder than it looks, isn't it? Yeah, because if you miss this, it's going to smack you in the head. Really felt them though, didn't it? Yeah, they're padded, yeah.
Honestly, watching that whole session, I feel like I've pulled a muscle watching it.
my brain hurts.
Yeah, that's pretty intense. So I feel like a stretching scenario right now is well needed.
Yeah.
You know better than anyone how important it is to stretch given all the injuries that you've had previously. But I feel like those injuries have kind of shaped who you are today.
I mean, that's what I've always tried to tell myself. I think it motivated me more. It was like 19, 20. And getting injured, had my first major surgery. I mean, like we said before, football wasn't the way it was then for girls and women. I know I was out for nearly 12 months. I didn't have a physio. But yeah, it was difficult. I was at university, I was working at a pizza shop, a well-known pizza shop.
Yeah, which one was that?
Yeah, Domino's.
Picturing you standing behind the counter, like putting all the mozzarella on.
Yeah, I could do it all. I could do like the dough, put the sauce on, everything. Working at Domino's, I was in the gym, I was at university, actually studying as well. It was difficult at times, but I was never going to give up, I was never going to stop.
Yeah, well, you didn't only not give up, but like you worked harder than anyone else really to get back to the fitness that you were at before, and then ended up actually becoming kind of better than everyone else around you without even realising.
Well, yeah, it was like my friends at the time started getting picked for England senior team, or they were doing really well at club, and I was always so happy for them. But I always felt like I was behind because I was a year out. And then when I got back playing and I got back picked for England and doing well at my club, I still felt like I've missed not only that year of playing, but even after when you first start playing, you're still not at your best. And I was constantly chasing to do more and more, doing extra sessions. Obviously it wasn't boxing back then, it was something in the gym, extra bike sessions, extra running. I was always doing extra, thinking I need to catch up because I had 12 months of doing extra away from everyone. And yeah, it just kept, my mentality, my drive just kept going and going, and I got to a point where I was like, who am I chasing anymore? Like, I'm just chasing myself.
Loads of players that come back from injury and they seem to be sort of quite sceptical, quite reserved on the pitch, obviously fearing that they're going to pick up something again. But you put yourself, your body on the line time and time again. It's as if you don't even have that fear.
I think because I basically got told after my first surgery, like, you will keep getting injured, it's just the way. Can you touch your toe? Oh yeah, not bad.
That.
I see the same surgeon now and he's always like, I can't believe you're still playing, we see you crazy. So yeah, it was just something that I was going to constantly have to deal with anyway. Yeah. So I was like, what am I scared of? Like, what's the worst that's going to happen? I'm going to stop playing, and that's going to happen whether I get injured or I don't get injured at some point. I might as well go all out whilst I've got the chance.
Be the best at what you're doing.
Yeah, like
while you can.
do it whilst you can, because you never know what tomorrow brings, kind of thing. And that was me. Through my whole 20s, every training session, it was like it was a World Cup final.
Every training session.
Yeah, Farrah Williams used to say there was 3 years where I was never on the losing team in training. She was like, "What is wrong with you? Like, just relax." I think now I'm a bit older, I'm like, okay, now I get it.
Yeah.
You can't do it all the time.
This isn't your first rodeo living abroad. You've obviously done the US, Lyon, and one thing clearly you're not missing from back home is the weather, but if you could say there's one thing that you miss the most from back home, what would you say it is?
I guess being around like more familiar faces. Came to Barcelona not knowing anyone. I went to Lyon not knowing anyone. I went to America not knowing anyone, and having to build relationships up and things like that. Whereas, yeah, in England there's like, even in the England team, there's players who I've known since I was 11, 12 years old.
Yeah. Well, there are a couple of familiar faces out here. We've got Kira Walsh and your dog Nala. Yeah. How did Kira being over here as well help?
It helped her initially. It was her first time abroad, but even now it's nice. I think if we speak really fast, no one understands what we're saying. Yeah. So it's quite nice in training that we can have like a little chat or a little moan about something, or we use a bit of slang and they're just like, what the hell are you saying?
Yeah, if you need to talk about the person next to you,
just start. We're like, oh, she's having a stinker, and they're like, what's a stinker?
I hate that when like someone's sitting next to me and they're speaking a language I don't understand, and all you think is they're bitching about you, and now I know they definitely are.
No, but they do that sometimes. They want us to say something about English players, and one of them changed from Spanish into Catalan, knowing that we don't understand Catalan.
What inspired the move to Barcelona and also Lyon before that?
Lyon, I played against them in the Champions League, and I remember at the end of the game, the second leg of Champions League, and the owner at the time, the general manager, came up to me and was like, we'd love you at Lyon. And I was thinking, Lyon would want me to play for them. And as soon as they came in, I was like, I'm gone, like I need to play for this team. They're the best team in the world, won everything, all the best players. That was a no-brainer. And then, yeah, Barcelona, similarly, a team that I played against, and thought, wow, this is pretty incredible. So when my contract was up in England, and Barcelona were like, oh, we'd love you to come, I was gone. I was on that plane, signing the contract straight away.
First flight out.
Yeah, like I've been so fortunate to play. I mean, not many players can say that they've played for the two best teams, women's teams in the world.
Each time you go to these different countries, obviously US, France, Spain, do you think it's like a chance for you to get like a fresh start? How would you say that you as a person and a player has evolved?
Each country's given me an opportunity to, like, I guess, develop differently. America was the biggest change. It was the first time I'd left home, and these players were crazy. Like, they were so competitive. And when I was in England, it was like, Lucy, stop being so competitive. I went there and they were like, Lucy, be more competitive. I thought, this is amazing. That was the first time I realised it was good to want to win, and it was good to be angry if you lost, or to like push other people. And that was a switch in my mentality, which I was always competitive, but it just brought out the best of me. And then, yeah, going to France and to Spain was like having to open myself up to people and connect with people that maybe don't speak English. So it's like, how do you get to know people when you don't speak the same language?
Yeah. So how did you get to know them?
I think music, funny enough.
Dancing.
Well, yeah, like dancing, music. You don't need to know exactly what it's saying. It's just people having fun.
Poor dance moves is the same in every language.
Yeah, like it doesn't matter who you are, or like where you're from. The music's on. You can just be yourself. And I was very lucky that I signed in Lyon at the same time as Shanice van der Sande, who's the most outgoing person I've ever met. So I kind of was like, Shanice, help me. Yeah. So that helped me.
You used to be like quite a shy person, I've heard you say before, which like having met you like a few times, it's not, I would never think that about you, but I think that going to the US specifically is probably something that knocked it out of you because they're so confident over there. Yeah,
it was literally like their confidence. I kind of had that inner confidence, but for sport, but not for myself. And that really was like the biggest change in my career.
Coming back from America when England came knocking, would you say that that was something that you regret coming back now, or would you make that decision again?
I came back because England didn't want to pick me if I was playing in America, which is crazy because I was playing in a team with like I said, half of them went on and won the next World Cup.
Yeah.
But I guess there wasn't as much media and things to be able to see the games or to see what was going on. So yeah, I came back, and the next 3 years I spent injury-ridden basically anyway.
Great. Something that you don't need to think about for a little while still, hopefully. But when there is a time where you have to hang up your boots, I've heard you say before that you would open a bar in Barcelona. But that was before you moved to Barcelona. Yeah. So having lived here now, is that the same?
Yeah, I can still do that. It's so funny. It was like, I used to tell my mum and my agent in my mid-20s, I'm going to go and play for Barcelona. I'm going to retire and open a bar and just chill. And that was before, obviously Messi and everyone was at Barca, but the women's team hadn't achieved anything then. And I used to just say that because it's Barcelona.
Yeah.
Like, it's sunshine, it's beaches. So it's kind of funny that my agent always like, how funny is it that you've actually ended up at Barcelona when you said that?
It's like you tempted fate.
Yeah, but I've came whilst is the best team in the world, winning Champions Leagues. Before I didn't even know that, it was just, I want to go and play in Barcelona.
Yeah. Does that mean if you're thinking of the fact that that might still be the case and you wanted to retire out here, that we won't see you in the WSL again?
Yeah, I don't know if I can take those cold nights. I've become a bit of a princess.
Fair weather player.
Yeah, a bit of a princess for the sunshine. I mean, never say never. My career's just been like, whatever I felt like doing at the time, I just go for it. Yeah. And just hope I land on my feet.
Yeah, well, it would be tough to give up the paella, and that is the only thing I can think about right now. So let's go get ready and get some paella.
Right.
Paella.
Paella.
Good, we're never invited.
We're not supposed to be in here. That's my football. You hugged a koala, you fed kangaroos. I said, yep, I did win the World Cup. So I went to Paris, did a fashion, like a catwalk in a football kit. Yeah. My mum still says that now. She's like, you shouldn't pick tennis. My Euros trophy is like, I think it's like in my sock drawer or something. Yeah, if I could click my fingers and the World Cup be tomorrow, again, I 100% would.
What would you say is the biggest mistake that you've made?
Oof, the biggest mistake.